Namaskaram to everyone. This is, of course, a very traditional greeting and something that I'm used to now. First, I would like to thank Mind Mingle for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit about Isha Homeschool. This is to be among all of you also, so many educators in the same room who are making such a big difference and want to be inspired to make the difference. So thank you. This is a great privilege for me. Sadhguru is a mystic, a yogi, an enlightened soul, and he's been published in many, many different languages now. He has inspired many, many people around the world, just helping them to understand yoga as a way of life, as a science. Not as a religion of any kind. Many people get confused with yoga as a series of postures, impossible ones, or yoga as something that you wouldn't be able to practice, or it just has many different connotations. But what it actually is a way of life. And that has changed my life, and it has brought me to this country, and I love India. My friends back in the States think I'm a little crazy, which is okay. They think that, most people in this country, unfortunately, are trying to go abroad or trying to go elsewhere. They want to leave India and make a life for themselves in the UK or in the US, and here I've done the opposite. In fact, my parents are still in the US, and I've settled here, which is a very difficult concept for most of our community to swallow. But I do love it here. Homeschool was a dream of Sadhguru's, and he met me more than 10 years ago and told me he wanted to start the school and I should come and help with that process. And of course, I was very honored that he met me, and I wasn't sure. I said, I can come for a year maybe and help. He said, well, I'm asking most of the teachers that I'm speaking to come for at least 2 to 3 years. And he said, oh, okay, anyway, just you come, it's all right. And of course, here I am, still so many years later, so I think he had a different plan in mind. He just didn't tell me. Speaking of a vision, although I will try my best to capture the essence of what homeschool is, I think it's best that you hear it from the founder himself. So I would like to start the presentation with a video where Sadhguru talks about his idea of homeschool. So we'll start with that.
The school is not… the Isha school is not designed to impose education on the child. There is a natural longing in every human being to know something. What is it that he wants to know? To discover that and to support that is the teacher's business, not to impose some curriculum that some government has decided for the child. To do this, generally in most schools it is not possible because for 75 children or 100 children there's one teacher. So the most fundamental requirement for a school like this is the teachers-student ratio is very, very appropriate and healthy. So if the number of teachers involved is large compared to the number of students who are there, if the proportion is good, only then this kind of a possibility arises which we will maintain, that they will be appropriate for any situation. Wherever they go, they will be in place. The child will learn not just to read and write, we will make sure that the child is exposed to every little thing in life. He should know how to fix a bicycle, he should know how to milk a cow, he should know how to cook his food, he should know everything. He may not become an expert cook or an expert bicycle repairer, but he knows the fundamentals of everything. He is not helpless in any kind of situation. This will not deviate him from his academics at all. In fact, it'll enhance him, because your academic capabilities don't come just by reading. Your academic capabilities come because your intelligence is in full swing, not half asleep. Today, the world education scientists are saying that if a child goes to kindergarten school and goes through 20 years of formal education, let's say he comes out with something like an MSc or a PhD or whatever, 20 years of education, They're saying 70% of his intelligence is irrevocably destroyed. That means he's coming out as a knowledgeable idiot and he will not be truly competitive in anything. He will try to survive on his two alphabets that he has gathered next to his name. So I want the children to grow up in such a way, tomorrow if your qualification has no value, still you survive. You survive because of your capability, not because of your qualification. This is education for knowing and to become capable. This is not education just to, decorate yourself with something. Fundamentally, education is… the word education literally means to enhance your horizons of perception. If you're not educated, see, there is a little boy in Danikande village, it is not that he is not intelligent, but he is not educated. Because he is not educated, the horizons of his perception are limited. The same boy went to the best university in the world, the horizons of his perception would be bigger. So the basic purpose of life, the basic purpose of education is to enhance one's perception, to enhance the boundaries of one's perception. If this happens, will he survive in the world? Definitely, well, not just survive. I don't want these children after 10 years of schooling here to just survive. They must blossom and flower wherever they go, they will.
So, in Sadhguru's words, you can see that he had a very different idea in mind. He didn't want us to be trapped, or he didn't want us to have to be completely driven by what's dictated by the syllabus or the state board. Now, of course, there's a certain amount of responsibility that we do have to make sure that we do fulfill whatever standards are expected, because we all have to have some kind of affiliation. Those of you who are running schools know how difficult that is. So we're all here trying to figure out a way how to meet those standards and at the same time provide an inspirational education to these children. So Isha Education, it is made up of 3 different initiatives. Isha Vidya concentrates on educating the rural population right now of southern India. You have Isha Insight, which is a program that, readjusting volume. It's a program that is focused on helping budding entrepreneurs interact with veterans in the business field. And then, of course, there's Isha Homeschool, which is a space for the children to be nurtured and grow up in a particular way. It's a residential school in the Veliangiri foothills in Coimbatore, and it's a beautiful location. Every time I walk around the campus, I think, I can't believe we're here. So I hope that all of you have a chance to visit. So there are a few tenets or aims and objectives that we follow. Not only the students follow, but also the teachers. Because I think, as Roman said, and I think also Aaron also mentioned this, it's not just the students who are learning and growing, it's also us. We're all a part of this together. And homeschool sort of implies that we're a family. So we're all working at this together. The aims and objectives, we aim to develop inclusive and capable lifelong learners, I know you hear that a lot, who live joyfully and without fear or prejudice. We are intentionally semi-formal with our students. In fact, there is no sir, there's no ma'am. They call us Akka and Anna, which in Tamil means brother and sister. So we have that kind of relationship with them, and they have no problem asking us questions, for many of which we don't have the answers. So we always have to go back and to them and say, give me a minute, I need to figure this out and I'll come back to you. We aim, of course, to have them strive to enhance themselves intellectually, socially, and physically, and pursue their education with commitment and involvement. This is true for most of the schools. One of the things that we do as a part of being in the yoga center is that the children do begin their day with yoga. Yoga provides them a platform to enhance themselves in so many different ways, and we have seen how this can impact the children in the very way that they are. To take initiative to create a better environment around them by becoming responsible, active global citizens. And you've seen this happen. Kiran ma'am talked about that to a great extent, and also Aaron. So these are the kinds of things we want them to get involved in. Being a part of the Isha Yoga Center, it's very fortuitous because they have many opportunities to volunteer and also get involved in other things. Have the necessary confidence, willingness, and openness to question themselves and the world around them. We want them to ask those questions. We don't want them to just take whatever they have and accept it blindly. I think some of the other speakers did talk about this. It's important that they question not only what they see around them, but their own beliefs. Where did they come from? Why do you believe what you believe? There has to be some root for it. Where did it come from? And why is it that you're just accepting this? Don't just accept it. Question it. And lastly, exhibit sense, strength, and gracefulness in any situation. Most of us know that first impressions are extremely important. Is this true? Generally, when you meet someone, the first impression that's created is the one that stays in your mind. So how you carry yourself, how one carries themselves, and how they handle every situation is so important. For the rest of their lives, this is something that's really, really important. And we also have to work on that when it comes to ourselves. Our teachers, as Roman rightly pointed out, is the strength of our school. And we have faculty who are mostly volunteers. Most of us are volunteers from different places around the world. And I found that the three most powerful words are, I don't know. And for us to be able to say that willingly and happily is something that most teachers don't do. But here, it's so powerful because what happens is you have collaborative learning. That's exactly what happens. When you say, I don't know, it means that you're just saying, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, which means we have to work together to find that answer. So collaborative learning just happens automatically, and that's been a beautiful process as a part of the school. Now, the students that we have are very flexible. They have very dynamic schedules, as you can imagine. Being a residential school, they get up really early in the morning, and they have so many different activities through the day. They have their classes, and then, because we live together, they also have to look after their personal needs and so many things. And so the schedule, and of course, being a part of the yoga center, there are so many guests and speakers and people who come, and we want to sometimes provide an opportunity for them to interact with people like yourselves. So we have to change the schedule around. Oh, you know what? Today, there's no physics class. We're going to meet with Aaron, and we're going to talk about what he does and how we can, bring that into our school. So we have to change things around. I have to say that they do this, the students do this so much more beautifully than I can. Just imagine what happens when there's a small change in our schedules. Anytime there's a small change in the schedule, first thing is panic. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I gotta adjust this, I gotta do this, I gotta replan this, so this is how we think. And here, I have seen it time and time again with my students. Oh, okay, Akka, fine. What? That's it? Total acceptance. It's so beautiful to watch how they're so flexible with such a dynamic schedule. Looking at the time here, running out of time. So we have 3-year learning cycles in the school, and our curriculum is, again, very dynamic. We have assessments, and we evaluate the children not on a paper pencil. That's one thing, because we have to do it as a part of the board. But we look at other opportunities for them. They get involved with workshops, and they do their own presentations. So these are all various forms of assessment that we can use, and the reflective practices. One thing that I find really transforms them is something that we call stillness. Just to be still. This is not necessarily a yogic practice or any form of meditation or anything. It's just to be still for a minute. In that moment of stillness, what all can happen within yourself? You don't have to explain it. You don't even have to know what's going on, but something is happening. And that reflective practice has been very powerful. So they start the morning with stillness. We have an assembly, all of us get together, and the assembly always ends with a minute of stillness. And before they sleep at night, because again, we're living together, before they sleep at night, they have that minute of stillness, and then they sleep. And I have seen how this transforms the children in such beautiful ways, and I think we need to adapt practices like this ourselves. The space itself where we are, like I mentioned earlier at the beginning, the space is incredible. And just by maintaining the space in a certain way, they imbibe an aesthetic quality within themselves. Many times, you have to fight with your children about what they want to wear and how they want to wear it, and this is the latest style and this and that. And here, we really don't need to say anything. We do require them to wear formal clothes during class. Not uniforms, but the traditional Indian dress, which is appropriate for the climate. Now, even in their choices of casual dress, you can see a slow transformation because of the space around them, the way that it's maintained. In an indirect way, or what we call part of the hidden curriculum, they make those choices themselves. You don't have to fight with them. You don't have to say, that's just inappropriate, you can't wear that. That doesn't happen because they see the environment and they make the choices themselves. Now, I would like to end today with a brief video, and I'm going to overshoot my time by a few minutes. I was really moved by the video that Gargi and his classmates had made. This was a surprise to us, and it was really touching to know that I had contributed to his journey somehow. All of us, when we watched this, the first time, we had tears in our eyes. We couldn't believe that they put this together and they wanted to share it with us. So it was such a powerful video for us, and he just captures what it means to be a student in the school, and I wanted to share that with you as the final thing. So I hope that you have an opportunity to come visit the school. I hope that this talk and this presentation has been useful to you and that you enjoy this video. Thank you so much.
My name is Gargi and I'm from a place called Navili. I've been studying in the school for the past 10 years. It's just a wonderful place. Like as Sadhguru says, this is a place for natural blossoming. And I think it's really true because when I came here first, I was dyslexic, and I still remember teachers found it hard to teach me and stuff. The way I feel about teachers is that they're, I think, like my other set of parents. I'm just around a bubble that's just safe, and you know for a fact that nothing's going to happen to you. And I think that's what home is, because love defines home. I learn more from what they teach me outside the classroom than inside the classroom. And another memory is we were doing a project about cars. What would an 8-year-old know anything about a car? So what we just did was stuck two pictures of some really cool cars and wrote what a car is made of, like outer parts and engine. Bhartika was there in school. So then we just went and showed this big piece of chart, and she's like, okay boys, come, we'll go for a car ride. And I still remember I sat in a front seat and we had a small trip to Pune temple. I think it'd be hard to find some teachers like this. The teacher that has influenced me the most is Rajana. He is the one who kept me going, saying, yeah Gagi, what you're doing is right. And he put this idea into me, do anything with just the raw intensity. You will definitely win whatever you're doing. The school evolved step by step. You could clearly see the difference in every year, like new buildings, new teachers, new students, everything new. But one of the things, like even though it has evolved so much, that hasn't been lost in this place is that the first time I set foot in this place, the same kind of vibe I get still now. in a part of a band right now. It's called Fizzy Soul, and I play the bass. But before this band, I had another band, and apparently I started it. And that band was called Rhythmics. This is the definition of Isha school. Like, we just take buckets and start beating it and play some drums, play some beats. We should take mud, put it in a paper cup and put another cup on top of it, tape the two cups and make a shaker out of it. We were so innovative, like even though we were like 7, 10 years old. And I still remember Sadhguru came and visited us once and he said, "You guys are really good, you guys should continue." Thinking what's going to happen the day when I'm going to leave the school, because it's such a nice place, and I don't think you'll ever get a place like. I don't think this is in the entire world. If you want your child to know what he wants to do with his life, you should definitely put him here, because you get a full exposure of all the things. And I would say this is just not a school fee. I would say this is like a life fee. Like, you pay for your life. It's not just for your school. It teaches you about life. Whatever I am right now, whether a footballer, cricketer, a coco player, a volleyball player, guitarist, bass guitarist, you guys inspired me to do all of this. My parents sent me here 11 years back, and I would just like to tell them that I think you just made the best decision in your life. Because if you guys haven't put me here, I wouldn't have known what music is, what sport is. So I just like to thank you guys. Just like to tell my friends that, especially two people who've been with me for past 11 years, Govind and Surya. Tell them that just like to tell them that you guys have inspired me a lot. Like, regardless of how stupid you guys are or how stupid I am, it doesn't matter. And and I wish the best of luck for you guys.